I think for me, the two most important things in racing are your fit and position. And then the second thing is your clothes. Because those are the things that affect your aerodynamics the most.
Not even the bike.
The most important thing on the bike is not actually the frame, but the wheels.
I agree.
Yeah.
The wheels.
So
Yes.
Frame, when I look at a frame, the first thing I look at is the geometry rather than the quality of the carbon on the weight. I would give it I would say a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10
6
only?
out of 10.
Why? What's wrong?
It could be faster.
Uh-huh.
I could do it with more gears instead of 11.
Okay. Are you running out of gears when you're racing?
Yes. Yeah, I am running out.
Then you could beat
gears.
the record if you had more gears.
I don't think the record was because of the gears. But if I could have more gears, I would like more gears.
Hey everyone, before I roll today's video, I'd just like to make an announcement. If you guys are not already joining me on Patreon, and if you appreciate all these videos that you're watching for free, do support me on Patreon if you'd like to support my work. Recently I've been bogged down with a lot of edits and I cannot cope anymore. I've recently got a part-time editor who's helping me edit all these videos that you guys are watching. And these are not free, it's a financial expense. So if you would like to help me out here, do join my Patreon portal and you would be able to support my work. And thank you so much to all of you who are already supporting me on Patreon. Really thankful for all of you. And without further ado, enjoy today's episode. Welcome back to another episode. I'm here with Ben. You might have seen some of his videos on TikTok or Instagram. Very cool. You should check out his IG and TikTok. Anyway, Ben is a Singapore national triathlete and he has been racing triathlon since 2009 during his national service and continued racing through university when you were studying in the US. We'll talk more about that, your triathlon life, being an Ironman. I'll give you the honors of speaking about that. And you are still racing with the Singapore national team since 2010. Ben, welcome to the podcast. And the first time I met Ben was through our friend John. If you remember, it was on a Saturday, right? Yeah. He totally smashed all of us on his TT bike. I was on my road bike. We were rolling so fast. I was so tired. I was asking John, he said it was an easy ride. He's like, yeah, I'm going to bring one of our Matador guys and come and join on the ride. And after the ride, I don't know if I told John, he's like, wow, that ride was so intense, man. It was so hard. And I was like, okay, we need to get Ben onto the show because you are a very, very strong rider. You just came back from Spain from an Ironman race.
Yeah, that's right.
Over to you. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thanks for having me, Oompa Loompa. I did remember that ride. It was quite an interesting one because I was supposed to do a training ride, but I wanted to meet Mr. Oompa Loompa himself. So I told my friend, our friend John, that there's one condition for me to go is that I want to pool for 90 minutes. And the reply was, I've never seen such a request before.
Usually our requests are like, yeah, we just want to have coffee. What's the route like? This is a strange request.
That was fun. And they were saying at the end that the recovery was going uphill.
But you brought us to nice routes. Again, I think some of your viral videos on Instagram were like just introducing routes here in Singapore. So racing in the national team, how was that like? How did cycling come up for you, and how do you discover this talent that you have?
Yeah, so I started as a runner in secondary school, running by my own, not with the school at all. And during NS, because there was some free time, decided to go for a challenge. Back then, there was the Navy Biathlon, and I signed up for that, did the race, and then you know how your friends always tell you, if you're already doing 2 sports, why don't do 3? So I bought a bike. In fact, my first bike was an Argon 18 hybrid bike. So it was both half aluminium and half carbon. The rear triangle was carbon, the frame was aluminium. I don't think they make such bikes anymore.
No.
And I hid it from my parents. So I kept it in my neighbor's house. So and until one day my parents were like, why are you sneaking out at 4:30 a.m? And then I was like, I come clean that I was cycling. Yeah. So that's how I started. Why do you have to
hide it with them? Why do you have to hide it from them?
Because they didn't want me on the roads of Singapore. Yeah, I think that was dangerous.
Did they ask you got to sell a bike, man?
No. They kind of accepted it, and that was that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then triathlon. Tell us, what was the first bike? Do you know what you're getting yourself into?
No, so my first bike, I started off with road bikes. So it was the Argon 18, a very, very basic bike, entry-level bike. Then my second bike was a Triesta. I guess that's how Triestina. Yeah, full carbon bike. It was a bit of a upgrade for me, and I rode that all throughout my university career with clip-on aero bars. Didn't have money then to afford a triathlon bike. And then I moved on to a Giant TCR, and now I ride on a road bike. I ride a Factor. What's the
Ostro?
That's right. Factor Ostro BAM.
And this bike.
And this is my triathlon bike, TT bike that I race on. It's a Giant Trinity Advanced 2020 full Ortegra setup.
In rim brake?
With rim brakes. Actually, in triathlon, rim brakes are faster than disc brakes. And some people won't be happy to hear that because you don't really brake in Ironman. So you just go in a straight line. In an Ironman, maybe I brake like fewer than 20 times over 5 hours. So why do you need that? Just go fast.
But is everyone mostly on disc or rim for triathlon bikes now?
I think increasingly more and more disc brakes because they're just not available in the market. They're a bit heavier, a bit more difficult to travel with. That's why I still like my rim brakes for convenience. But one day eventually I have to get a disc brake. So.
Do you think that will slow you down?
Nah, I don't think so. The technology is catching up very much. But it doesn't. I don't feel like I'm losing out by not having disc brakes.
How old is this bike?
2020.
2020.
In fact, the Ironman World Champion in 2023 rode this exact same frame. Gustav Eden won the Ironman World Championships in Kona on Giant Trinity.
Right.
So if he can do it and it's not slowing him down, I don't see why I have to upgrade.
Okay, we'll talk about your bike a little bit later. And how did you get into the national team and how's training like there? Let's say if someone is watching, aspiring to be in the national team, what should they look out for?
Yeah, great. So things are a little bit different now. As the national team grew, it's become a lot more structured. Back then, there was basically it's like the Olympic trials where you have a race, and the first top two who qualify to go for whatever race you're looking for. So back then, it was the Asian Championships, I remember, and there were 3 guys on the start list, and the top guy would go to represent Singapore in overseas race. Back then, it was in Taiwan, Ilan, Asian Championships. So I don't think I was the fastest one online, but the guy in front of me unfortunately cramped.
Okay.
So I went past him and I was like, wow, I actually made it into the national team.
Wow.
So that was really lucky. But these days it's a bit more structured and fairer, I think. So there are certain benchmarks that are released online. And I think it's not very well publicized. So I hope that I can do more publicity for Triathlon Singapore on my Instagram account. But there are certain benchmarks that you have to hit. And once you cross that benchmarks, you just write into Triathlon Singapore and you can get in.
Okay. And how rigorous is the training like? What's the expectation when you enter the squad?
The national team, it's really quite outcome driven. So it doesn't matter how much you train or how you get there, as long as you can hit the benchmark time. You make it in a squad, which is quite fair. And every year you got to renew your validity on the squad. So you have to make it past a certain time, or there are time trials or races in Singapore. And as long as you make those time cuts, you get in. But these time cuts move. It's because of the standards from the SEA Games. So it's usually the third place timing from the SEA Games plus say a 3% buffer.
Right. Okay.
So if the winner if the SEA Games was just an all out full gas race, it makes it very difficult to qualify the next year. But if it was a tactical race where everyone was looking at each other, then it becomes easier to make the national team.
Okay. Wow, cool. And you were saying that you were trying to beat some Ironman record. What's that about, and how did it come?
So in 2022, I finished a draft legal race and I finished very badly. And I realized that everyone at the start line was almost half my age. And I realized, I was like, perhaps I don't quite have the explosivity to race short distance draft legal race anymore. So I was thinking about doing longer distance and wondering what are the standards, because as racing short course triathlon, you are always looking at standards, looking at timing to see whether you can make those qualify for certain benchmarks. So I was looking into Ironman, and I realized that actually there is an opportunity, because back then the Ironman record was held by Choo Ling Er, who's a lady, at 9 hours and 38. And I was like, if you break it down into the swim, into the bike and the run, it was actually quite achievable for where I was fitness-wise that time. So I set myself a goal to break the Singapore Ironman record, and I did that in 2023 in Copenhagen. So from the record was 9:38, and I did 9 hours and 2 minutes.
Wow, it's a lot.
I was quite pleased actually. 9 hours and 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I currently hold the Singapore Ironman record.
Do you think your record will be broken anytime soon?
I thought I would break it last weekend.
What happened?
But I did 9 hours 22 minutes. What happened? It just wasn't a good day. The course wasn't as fast, which is contributing factor. But I just think just one of those bad days when the legs are not firing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
which course in the Ironman? Again, sorry, I'm not an Ironman guy. I don't really follow too much. But which course in the Ironman races is the easiest one for you to probably break another record?
Yeah, there are a few. I have a secret spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
With all the times and averages to choose a fast course.
Yeah.
So I think for my goal is to break 9 hours, you obviously have to choose a fast course. You can't go on to a hilly one. So there are a few out there. Copenhagen was one. Also Vitoria-Gastiez, which I was just at. In fact, the winner rode the fastest ever bike time over there for Ironman distance. 3 hours 53 and an average speed of 46 km an hour solo. That was just mind blowing.
Yeah.
That's another fast one, and maybe next year I'll be targeting Hamburg, which is also a fast course. There are a few out there. Sweden, Callan has a good course, and down in Australia, there are one or two.
Do you have a coach?
I have a coach. I'm with Ben Khoo from Coached. And I've been with him since I started doing long distance.
Okay. What does your training schedule look like in a week? And I'm sure you probably manage your own diet. And how does that? If you could shed some light on that.
Yeah. So my training, I train when I'm not training for Ironman, it's about 12 to 14 hours a week. And when I'm training for the Ironman, it's 16 to 20 hours a week.
Okay.
And I think at 16, 20 hours a week, it's not very sustainable anymore. Then you're having to give up social life. It's basically just work and training.
Yeah.
And basically my social life is my training. I try to get out with my friends as much as possible.
You'll be like, hey, come out for a drink. Sorry, I got to train for Ironman tomorrow.
Exactly.
Training for Ironman is more important than having drinks. I probably can't drink, right?
I'll go say, I'll go drink, but I'll order like Coke or something.
You're like party pooper, man.
Exactly. I'm not very good company.
Sometimes my colleagues are like, hey, let's go for drinks after work on a Friday. I'm like, sorry, I got to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow on a Saturday to go for a ride. Don't ask me for drinks. I'll join you for drinks, but I'll be home by 8 p.m.
That's one of those things that tell me you're a cyclist without telling me you're a cyclist.
Exactly. You should create a clip for that.
Friday night, 9 p.m. you're in bed.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. And nutrition.
Yeah, so nutrition, I have a fairly healthy diet. I try to eat a lot of fiber. So some people try to go high carb, high fat. I think my diet is a high fiber diet. So and that's to help with gut health. So I eat things like sweet potatoes, oats, and so on. I also take some supplements. So I take what we call NMN for healthy aging. I also take multivitamins and fish oil. Actually, I started a company called Live Long Long.
Live Long Long.
And we are starting with our first product, which is NMN.
Right.
So maybe if I could talk a little bit about NMN. NMN is a nicotinamide mononucleotide.
Wow.
So it's you don't have to remember.
Yeah,
that.
it's so scientific, man.
It's one of it. Basically, when you age, you don't have you start to lose this chemical in your body called NAD, which helps with energy and metabolism. So that's why you sleep. Your sleep is poorer, your recovery is worse, or you feel like you're less energetic. So NMN helps to top this up. And when I said earlier on in 2022, when I felt I was old and I couldn't keep up with the younger kids, I started looking into ways. I started feeling old, basically hair sprouting from all parts of your body. And I was like, what can I do? And I found this ingredient, NMN. And it sounded like a wonder drug. I went to look online. Is it on the WADA ban list? It was not. And I was like, why isn't any sports people taking it? So it was taken by biohackers, for anti-aging, but not used in sports. So I started taking it myself, and I found that it worked. And if no one is really targeting the endurance crowd for this, I said, why not do it myself?
Yeah.
And that's why I came up with this supplement, NMN Performance Blend.
How does it help with your fitness though?
It helps with recovery,
Okay.
and it also helps with energy. So not so much. You don't feel it immediately. It's not like caffeine, but you feel like the improvements come easier. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can we talk about the bike? Probably everyone's waiting for us to talk about
Let's
your
talk
bike.
about the bike.
Okay, so this is a giant Trinity that you've purchased in 2020?
I got in 2021.
2021.
Yeah.
Rim brake, of course, to all you rim brake lovers out there. Not a very fancy bike that have on my show, and you are a Ironman record holder on rim brake. So can you do the honors and running us through the bike setup?
Sure. Yeah. So giant Trinity Advanced Pro 1, I think, or full Ultegra R 8000.
11 speed.
11 speed. I have 2 gears, the front. Yeah, not single speed. Usually when I race with a disc wheel, and I always race with a disc wheel. So unless you're climbing for more than 50% of the ride, you should use a full disc wheel. Like for example, in the T100 race, climbing is about 20% of the race. Some people ask me disc or disc wheel or regular wheel because it's so much climbing. Always use a disc unless you're climbing up, say Alpe d'Huez or something. Yeah, it's always faster. And when you look at the pros, all of them are on disc brakes, both male and female.
Which disc brakes? Disc wheels are you using?
I use the Prime 343. It's a cheap disc wheel.
Prime. Is that on like chain reaction?
Yeah, it
cycles?
used to be on chain reaction cycles that
Okay.
don't ship to Singapore anymore.
Yeah. I think I had a few guys who had their handlebars, the Prime handlebars.
Yeah.
I think they're quite good.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good value for money.
Yeah. So you are not very particular about your components, it seems.
No,
Or whatever that works, you just get it.
pretty much. I think for me, the 2 most important things in racing are your fit and position. And then the second thing is your clothes. Because those are the things that affect your aerodynamics the most.
Even the bike.
The most important thing on the bike is not actually the frame, but the wheels.
I agree.
Yeah.
The wheels.
So
Yes.
frame, when I look at a frame, the first thing I look at is the geometry rather than the quality of the carbon on the weight.
So what are you looking at for in the geometry?
I look for something that has a very low drop because I have a flexible back and I can go and pretty long arms. So I actually want to go very low. And some bikes just can't go low enough for me.
So are you saying that the head tube, the stack in front,
Yes.
has to be low?
You want as small of a stack as possible. So bikes like, say, Pinarello and Canyon, actually they have quite a relaxed geometry. For the road bikes, I don't know about their TT bikes, so I don't use them.
Okay.
And back when I was buying a road bike, I found that Factor as well as Giant have very aggressive, Specialized as well as very aggressive racing geometries. And so that's how I choose the brands.
How tall are you? You're about my height, 170.
I'm 173.
173? Yeah, I'm 173, man.
173. Yeah.
And this is a...
This is a small 51.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bike sizing, how do you decide that? For TT bikes? Is it different?
I
from
asked
a
my
road?
bike fitter.
Okay, yeah, so you did a bike fit with...
I did a bike fit with Adrian. Don't want to give the wrong last name, but Adrian is he's not a very well-known bike fitter. He's much better at bike fitting than selling himself, unfortunately.
Whoa.
So his name doesn't go. He doesn't have a website or anything, but he's actually fit. I think more than 2/3 of the national triathlon team. And Adrian also works at Shimano, where he designs some of the lower end group sets like Tiagra
Sora.
and Sora, because like the Ultegras and Dura Ace are designed in Japan. So he's really all in, great bike guy. He knows how everything works, and he even does some 3D printing for bikes.
Wow.
For example, I think he 3D printed the bento box on the top tube.
This one?
Not for me, for some
Okay.
of my friends, as well as the bento box at the bottom, at the bottom triangle for some of my friends as well. I don't know whether I should be saying this on a public podcast. Maybe he did it as a favor.
Right. Okay. So we can't go to him and ask Adrian to print some things for me.
Yeah. You got to look for Adrian.
Okay, Adrian. Whoever Adrian is, I'll come and find you. Okay. So that's on the bike fitting. Anything else cool about the bike? So you run, this is training wheels, wind space. Which model is this one?
The 50s.
50 millimeter. Okay, these are just purely training wheels. You've got Faveros.
Favero power meter.
Yeah.
Those are the easiest power meter you use. You just plug and play.
Yeah. What are you looking at when you're racing on your computer?
I have average speed and heart rate. I don't really look at power very much when I race.
I know one guy who's a super strong guy. He doesn't even have a power meter. I think he rides with Crank Dynasty. And he doesn't use a power meter. He uses a heart rate. And he says, yeah, for me, heart rate monitor is the most important for me. That's the most important metric for him. But why are you primarily looking at heart rate and not your power?
Yeah, I think power doesn't really matter in a race. If you gotta go, you gotta go. And I think I've raced for long enough that I know how my body feels. And you kind of race according to, if you know whether to take the move if your body feels okay. Yeah. So
Sorry.
no, so you don't really need a power meter. In fact, when I did my Ironman last week, I wanted to ride about 200 watts, and I was looking back at the data. It's almost there, just going by feel. Yeah.
Could you rate your bike? How do you think this bike performs? Yay, nay, what's bad, what's good?
Oh man, I would give it I would say a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10
6 out of
only?
10.
Why? What's wrong?
It could be faster.
Uh-huh.
I could do it with more gears instead of 11.
Okay. Are you running out of gears when you're racing?
Yes. Yeah, I am running out.
Then
of
you could beat
gears.
the record if you had more gears.
I don't think the record was because of the gears. But if I could have more gears, I would like more gears.
Yeah. More gears in terms of having more range, or
More range.
More range.
Yeah, a wider range of gears.
Yeah.
Also, my front cockpit is not the most aerodynamic.
What's missing in the front?
Well, it could be. If I could raise my arms a bit higher, I think in the current trend in aerodynamics is higher arms, and higher arms, and then it's closer to your face.
Right.
So traditionally, they wanted your arms to be flat.
Yeah.
And then it moved to your elbows low, and then your arms high. But now the current thinking is that you want to kind of close this gap between your arms and your face. So you want to bring up your arms as high as possible. So I think that could make me a little bit more aerodynamic, a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
But those aero bars cost $2,000 and have to be custom printed.
So this one can't go up anymore.
No, yeah, that's as good as it gets.
Oh, okay. So then back to your question saying that your geometry, you want something that has a very low front end.
Yeah.
But you are also saying that you need to go up.
Yeah.
Isn't it a bit contradicting, or
So
am I getting
no,
this
not
wrong?
really. So your elbows go down,
Yeah.
but your arms go up, and then so you kind of like cover this gap between your head and your arms, and that's why you see like in the Tour de France, those really fast cyclists, they are nearly kissing their hands. Because they kind of close up the gap in front, and that's where the wind is hitting.
Right. So hypothetical question on a road bike. Slamming your stem is not the best thing, maybe, or should I like be as close to the bars, but have some spaces?
Well, in a road, I don't know.
Sorry, that's a bit of a tough question.
On a road bike, you want your neck as low as possible.
Next, so slam the stem.
So if you don't slam the stem and you can get your neck lower, why not? Because some I don't know the flexibility of some people.
Right.
Not a physiotherapist, but some people can get low with high arms.
And also, it depends on how long can you sustain the position,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No point doing it, but you can't sustain.
If you gotta have really strong triceps.
Yeah, I can't do it for long, man. I look at my small little arms.
I think all cyclists have small little arms.
And the cool thing about your TT bike, it's probably not the only one, but you have what you call a skate tape.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I have skate tape. Instead of using bar tape, I use skate tape. Firstly, it's lighter, and secondly, it has better grip, especially when your hands are wet from swimming.
So you guys don't wear gloves at all, right?
There's no time to put on gloves.
Unless you wear your gloves and go swimming with it.
Yeah, you put on your gloves in transition, but
Yeah.
that takes up a little bit of time as well.
Right.
Yeah, it's much lighter, much easier to maintain, and you. At least when you're racing, you hardly use the bullhorns. So just put skate tape over there.
Right. And clinchers, tubeless, what's your tire setup like?
Oh, tubeless all the way.
Because you're racing, got no time to afford a puncture.
Yeah, you don't want any punctures. And tubeless are great. They're faster. Why would you use
I'm on tube
anything
though.
else? Yeah.
I'm on tube. Okay,
Why?
anyway,
Why are you on tubes?
I don't. Firstly, I don't race. Probably I've said this multiple times on my podcast. I acknowledge the benefits of tubeless. But for me, I ride on the weekends. My bike is sitting in the storeroom most of the time. You got to top up the sealant, kind of rotate the wheels a little bit. So
True.
yeah, that's a bit of a hassle for me. So
True.
I just like tubes, a bit old school. Yeah, that's the reason.
Okay.
Yeah, but if I was racing, I would definitely go tubeless. I cannot afford a puncture, sit there and fix up anything. I probably lose the race already.
But we both agree tubular is dead.
Well, I had one guy before you, and he runs tubular. And he says there's a lot of misconceptions about tubular tires.
Okay.
But I guess it's still very old school. But he says that the tubular tires are much more comfortable. And he says that, so I asked him the question, like, if you have a flat on a tubular, what happens? You just throw the tube away. He's like, no, actually, you can kind of pump sealant in the tubular tire.
Okay.
Yeah, very cool fact that I didn't know. Watch that video. It's the one before this.
All right.
Okay, cool. Anything else you would like to talk about your bike or anything I'm missing you want to share before I go on to the Instagram questions? You might be grilled.
No, speaking about Instagram, so I do some Instagram content by myself, and what I find out really interesting is the responses to cycling on Instagram versus TikTok.
Yes. We want to talk about that. I forgot. Yes, go ahead.
So on Instagram, somewhat you use your real identity, right? So everyone only has probably one Instagram account, their real face and real name. Whereas on TikTok, you're somewhat anonymous. You have photos of memes and you don't really know who's there. And the response to cyclists on TikTok seems to be really toxic. Really toxic, where even going to the extent where they're like, why are you on the road? Get off the road. I hope you get run over by a truck.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
So before I started, I'm also on TikTok. Mainly, I just want to spread all my content across different platforms to reach different audiences. Again, I think TikTok has a very young group that are on TikTok. And my wife was telling me, I told her, like, I think I need to expand to TikTok if I'm going to be doing this. And she's like, yeah, the comments on TikTok can be quite brutal. How brutal can it be? Just a bunch of teenagers dancing on TikTok, right? It's like, no, man.
Exactly.
But it's funny. Like, I think maybe this is the real comments that people genuinely want to push out to. Like, you don't see this on YouTube or Instagram. And yes, I've seen like videos of they put a lot of. I think there's a lot of bad light on cyclists.
Yes.
On TikTok, and then they're like, cockroach, pass now pay, road tax, and all that, right?
Yes.
What's your view?
Yeah, and I mean it's almost bordering on death threats. It's like, why would you wish that on someone? Right? Just because they're on two wheels on the road.
Yeah.
So I think it's really toxic, but it's good for the content. It boosts the algorithm. So.
You should reply to those comments.
So you just gotta keep them angry, so they start a debate and pushes your video up.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's their representative of the general sentiment towards cyclists.
Yeah.
Just some little echo chamber out there.
Yeah, I mean, just gotta stay safe out there. And I think practice defensive cycling. I guess
Agreed.
a lot of people do not do that here. They get very aggressive. when someone tells them off, they'll be like, do you really want to fight them back? I'm like, bro, chill out, man.
I agree. Yeah,
You're on a bike, he's on a car, he can just ram you down and goodbye to you, man.
I know he's 10 times your weight.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Or 20 times your weight. Just don't get into
I
a fight.
think it's ego. It's
Yeah.
ego. Guys, comment below what you guys think about that. Interesting to see from different point of views. Do you want to see some, can I ask you some Instagram questions?
I don't know what to expect, but let's go.
Okay, so these are probably some of your followers because you reposted the IG story. So I'm not too sure whether are these my followers or yours. But anyway, the first question is, how do you balance life, work, relationship, and training while keeping discipline with your workouts?
Well, I love working out, so that makes it a lot easier. And I don't have many other vices besides cycling, so I don't watch TV, which saves a lot of time. I don't play games, so most of my free time is spent either doing chores or working out. And so obviously you know which one I'm going to choose.
Do you ever get bored of training? Like, oh man, I got to wake up today, go train, I just want to sleep in.
I do.
Yeah.
I think what really helps is having a nice having a nice community around you. So have good cycling friends, good friends for swimming, good friends for running. So you kind of like keep each other accountable and have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
When you're going out.
So almost every day you are doing something. Like,
Twice a day.
Twice a day.
Yeah.
Remind me again what's happening in that day.
So I do 14 workouts a week, so 2 every day, and before say 7:30 I finish one workout, and in the evening around 6:30 to 8 I do a second workout.
It's about time for you to go for your second workout.
No, it's my off season now.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Damn, man. This is some crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But I enjoy it, so it doesn't seem like work to me.
Do you do
Just
indoor riding?
I do all my workouts indoors on the weekdays. All
Okay.
weekdays rides are indoors.
Okay. Is it because there's no time to go out and?
Yeah, it's much more efficient.
Okay.
And it's the only time I can watch junky YouTube videos.
Like my video, I hope.
Yes, indeed.
Does doing a lot of Zwift help you with your performance outdoors?
I think it's just time efficient.
Okay.
Because in Singapore, you spend a lot of time getting to the destination before you can do your intervals. But I don't see any difference between Zwift and outdoor intervals. In fact, I can put out better power outdoors, just that don't have the time to go.
Okay. This user would like to know what is your marathon personal best.
2:45. But I haven't run a proper marathon.
So this is like a 42K.
This was in 2019, so I just jumped into a marathon for fun because I was in Melbourne for holiday.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Sorry, how fast again is that?
2 hours 45
So
minutes.
in terms of pace, that's like a...
3:50,
Wow,
Okay.
that's damn fast, man.
something like that.
Okay. That next question is, do we need any qualifications to join 70.3 to clear? Oh my god. Can you read this question?
Seems like a very technical question.
It's like a lot of triathlon terms that I don't even...
qualifications to join 70.3 SIT, which is Singapore International Triathlon, need to clear open water swimming, OWS, to join, or can we just sign up? It's a very technical question.
Can you summarize the question? So there's a lot of acronyms in here.
Yeah, so do you need to complete the half Ironman to join the Singapore? Do you need to be able to prove that you are able to swim to join a half Ironman?
Okay.
So the answer is no.
Okay.
Yeah, but for in Singapore, to go for some races, you need to show swim competency because Singapore, they want to make sure that no one's going to drown.
Yeah.
So there are some proof that you need to submit.
Yeah.
But overseas, no, you just sign up, and then if you're gonna drown, they'll fish you out of the water.
Okay. And which is the hardest part of the triathlon for you? Is it swimming, running, or cycling?
For me, I would say swimming.
Okay.
I'm the least confident in swimming
Why?
because I spend the least amount of time swimming.
So shouldn't you just focus more on swimming?
I should, but I don't like swimming.
You hate swimming?
I don't hate swimming. I just like it the least.
Okay. So your stronghold will be running. Or
Running.
it's like running?
Running.
Because you started off running initially
right,
in your
yeah.
early days. Okay. Next question, and probably the last one. What's the cost of your whole bike?
The cost of my bike, interesting question. it's less than $6,000.
Amazing.
So-
Less than $6,000.
So I had this video on TikTok of how much it costs to do an Ironman. Spoiler alert, it's about 12,500 if you start from nothing. So I posted a price of my bike and my wheels, and I got a lot of response like, how is this $6,000? Because I got it used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people are generally more surprised at why is it so cheap, not like why is it so expensive?
Both.
Both.
I think about 2/3 think it's really expensive, and 2/3 think like thought it would be more expensive.
The 2/3
2/3 think it's really expensive.
Yeah.
And then the other 1/3 thinks thought it would be higher.
It would be higher.
Yeah.
So I guess the 2/3 are probably not triathletes.
Yeah, I think so.
They're probably like, yeah, because when I speak to my friends who are non-cyclists and they ask me, hey, how much is your bike? I never reveal the full price.
Oh, really?
It's too expensive. I mean, I don't think it's that expensive, but I trick myself to think it's cheap. No,
Yeah.
I won't say it's cheap, it's expensive. But, you know, when you look back, it's like, wow, I actually spent this amount of money for a bike.
It's the reason we don't add up the cost.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Okay, I know that was the last question, but this is really the last question, which I think is interesting. This guy says, I'm about to train for a triathlon and need a proper bike trainer. What is your recommendation?
Bike trainer. So I assume trainer means indoor
Yep.
trainer and not a coach. A good one, I think you can get really strong with a dumb trainer. Without Zwift and everything, but it's really boring. So the cheapest bike trainer you can get is from Decathlon. Decathlon.
Which is that like a brand or no brand?
I don't know the exact model, but
Yeah.
Decathlon has that in-house brand that is a smart trainer, connects to Zwift and everything.
Is that the one you're using? Or
No.
Okay. Which one? What are you using again?
I'm using Cyclops Hammer H3,
Okay.
but I think it's made by Saris, and I think Saris has gone out of business.
Saris used to have those bike racks for cars and all that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I don't know what happened to Saris, but I don't think the hammer is on sale anymore.
Oh.
So I were to buy, I would just get a Wahoo.
Wahoo, yeah. These are the newer ones in the market now anyway.
Yeah, the China brands are not bad too.
Magine. Yeah.
I used to use a Magine.
Yeah.
It's as good as your top end trainers, except its power reads like 15 watts low,
Right.
which was really annoying.
Yeah.
So after a while, I was very annoyed, and I was like, I want it to tell me that I'm strong.
Give me the highest number.
So I bought a new trainer.
All right, Ben, I think that's pretty much the end. Anything you would like to say to your audience? This is free airtime for you.
Well, you can. I want to share more about the local triathlon and running scenes. So you can follow me at Too Cool for School on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
And don't call me a road pest, please.
Do you pay road tax or not?
Yes, I pay road tax.
Anyway, he has very interesting. Ben has very interesting content on IG and on TikTok. Yeah, guys, follow him. I follow all your stuff. Very interesting stuff. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Oompa Loompa.
Thank you. Awesome. That's it.
All right.
Covered everything.
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, nice. 40 minutes on the dot.